Have you ever stopped and wondered, who invented absolutely nothing? Seriously, not the concept of nothing, an actual symbol that represents nothing. Because believe it or not, for thousands of years, humans could build pyramids, navigate oceans, and even predict eclipses without having the number zero. No 0, no 10, no 100, no 1,000, which means one tiny circle completely changed mathematics forever. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why many historians consider zero one of the greatest inventions in human history. This is the history of zero in under 10 minutes by the 10-Minute Mentor. Let's travel back more than 5,000 years. The earliest civilization, like the ancient Egyptians and the people of Mesopotamia, already knew how to count. If they had 1 cow, they wrote 1. 5 cows, 5, 100, they had symbols for that too. But here's the problem. Imagine writing the number 101. Today it's easy. 1, 0, 1. But what if you don't have a 0? How do you show there's nothing in the tens place? You just can't. Instead, civilization had to invent long, confusing numbering systems that often relied on context, and that caused mistakes. Lots of them. Take the Roman numeral system, for example. Imagine trying to multiply this, 1,998 by 47. Most people would give up immediately. Roman numeral worked well for monuments and dates, but they were terrible for math. Adding was difficult, multiplying was worse. Division? Forget about it. Without zero, mathematics had a ceiling. Around 300 BC, the ancient Babylonians made an important breakthrough. Instead of inventing zero as a number, they created a placeholder. Think of it like leaving a blank parking spot. It showed that something belonged there, but it wasn't actually considered a number. It's similar to writing 1 blank 1 instead of 101. It helped reduce confusion, but it still wasn't the zero we know today. It couldn't be used in calculations, you couldn't add it, subtract it, multiply it. It was simply a marker. The Maya civilization in Central America also independently developed a symbol for zero around the first few centuries AD. They used it mainly in their calendars and astronomy. This was incredibly advanced. The Maya were able to track the movements of planets with remarkable accuracy. However, their version of zero stayed mostly within their own civilization and didn't spread widely to the rest of the world. So while the Mayans deserve enormous credit for independently discovering the idea, their version didn't become the global standard. The real revolution happened in India. Around the 5th century AD, Indian mathematicians transformed zero from a placeholder into an actual number, and that changed everything. One mathematician in particular deserves special recognition. His name was Brahmagupta. In the year 628 AD, he wrote a mathematical text explaining how zero should work. For the first time, someone wrote actual rules. A positive number minus itself equals 0. 5 minus 5, 0. 100 minus 100, 0. He also explained what happens when you add 0, subtract 0, multiply it by 0. Now, he wasn't perfect. He struggled with division by 0. He proposed rules that we now find are incorrect. In modern mathematics, division by 0 is considered undefined. But even with that mistake, his work laid the foundation for modern arithmetic. So why was 0 such a big deal? Because it unlocked something called the place value system. Let's compare. Without 0, how do you tell the difference between 11, 101, 1,001, 10,001? It's incredibly difficult without 0. Every digit has a position. The number 507 means 5 hundreds, 0 tens, 7 ones. That empty middle position suddenly has meaning, and because of that, large calculations became dramatically easier. Merchants, scientists, astronomers, engineers, everyone benefited. From India, these mathematical ideas traveled west through trade and scholarship. Around the 8th and 9th centuries, scholars in the Islamic world translated Indian mathematical works into Arabic. One of the most influential mathematicians was Muhammad bin Musa al-Khwarizmi. He wrote books explaining this new number system. His work became incredibly influential. In fact, the word algorithm comes from the Latin version of his name. Yes, every algorithm running on your phone today owes its name to a mathematician who helped spread the use of zero. Eventually, these ideas reached Europe. At first, people didn't trust them. Many Europeans were comfortable using Roman numerals. Some even thought the new symbols could make fraud easier because digits could be altered. There was resistance, but mathematics kept proving itself. In the 13th century, an Italian mathematician named Leonardo da Pisa, better known as Fibonacci, helped popularize the Hindu-Arabic numeral system in Europe through his famous book, Libro Abaci. Merchants quickly realized calculations became faster. Accountants loved it. Scientists loved it. Eventually, everyone switched. Then came the scientific revolution. Think about physics, astronomy, engineering, calculus. None of these fields could have developed the way they did without zero. When Isaac Newton developed calculus, zero became essential. When engineers calculate bridges, zero matters. When pilot navigates airplanes, zero matters. When measuring temperatures uses zero as a reference point. And today, zero is absolutely everywhere. Your bank account, GPS, video games, artificial intelligence, every website, every app, every computer. Computers speak a language called binary. Binary uses only 2 digits, 0 and 1. That's it. Every photo you ever taken, every text you ever sent, every TikTok you've watched, every YouTube video, every song you streamed, every emoji you ever used is ultimately stored as enormous strings of zeros and 1. Without zero, modern computers simply couldn't function. Here's something even stranger. Zero wasn't just difficult to invent. It was difficult to imagine. Humans naturally count things that exist. 1 apple, 2 apples, 10 apples. But inventing a symbol for the absence of something required a completely different way of thinking. That's why historians consider zero not just a mathematical invention, but a philosophical one. It represents nothing, yet it changed everything. Now here's a fun fact. Zero is neither positive nor negative. It's called a neutral integer. It's also the only real number that is neither positive nor negative. Multiply any number by zero, you get zero. Add zero, nothing changes. Subtract zero, nothing changes. And despite what many people try in school, you still cannot divide by zero. Why? Because division asks how many groups. If you try to divide by zero, you're asking how many groups of nothing fit into something. There is only one constant answer, so mathematicians defined it as undefined. So next time you see a simple little circle, remember, it took thousands of years, multiple civilizations, brilliant mathematicians, and centuries of debates to create something that represents nothing. Yet without that nothing, there would be no algebra, no calculus, no computers, no smartphones, no GPS, no internet, and probably no YouTube. One tiny symbol became one of the most powerful ideas humanity has ever created. And that's why the history of zero is really the history of modern civilization. Thanks for watching the 10-Minute Mentor. If you learned something new today, be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who never realized that nothing could change the world. Here at the 10-Minute Mentor, we turn big ideas into quick lessons, covering literature, history, science, and math, making learning simple and easy to understand in just 10 minutes. See you in the next one. Bye for now.